Welcome to Ravenland. For 10 human generations, the blood mist, a red and ravenous haze that rose from the ground at night, devoured travelers. Few dared to venture outside after nightfall, and fewer still know for sure what lies beyond the horizon. The demonic mist that covered the lands for 3 centuries, draining the life out of anyone who dared wander too far from their village, has suddenly and inexplicably lifted. Restless souls are finally free to leave their homes and travel far and wide in the forbidden lands, looking for treasure and adventure. The brave sharpen their blades and prepare to leave. They cannot bear the oppressive weight of their homes and hearths any longer. Adventurers, treasure hunters, scoundrels, not heroes, far from it, but men and women who dare travel the land as they choose and make their mark on it, unbound by any fate or story set for them. They hunt for ancient treasures. They fight whomever gets in their way. They build a new world for themselves on the ruins of the old. They are the raiders of Ravenland, the Forbidden Lands.
Howdy, friends and floorheads. Happy Thursday night. It is Forbidden Lands night. And this is episode 10, which is amazing. We've had a ton of fun with a little bit of rotation on the role of Vasilla, but we've got Dave here today. Quick plug. Last week, and we had a chance to play Call of Cthulhu without me running it. So if you have not watched the Call of Cthulhu that we did last week with Brian, your friend Sten, as the GM, make sure you check that out. All right, let's jump right in. I think we fade in from black, and it's a wide shot from well above. And we can see we're at a foothills of a mountain range. And at the bottom of that foothills, there appears to be a castle that's been built into the side of the mountain. And we can tell that it's old. It's surrounded by a river. And on the other side of that river is this really odd conglomeration of homes. In the center, we've got your traditional village, old but maintained. And then on the left-hand side, we have tents. And on the right-hand side, we have tents. When we've learned that those 2 different tribes of the Asleen that are living here in the shadow of Amber's Peak. And as we zoom in, we go to a tavern. And I'd like to, as a quick side note, I've never started a session nor an adventure inside of a tavern. And in this tavern, we see a mix of Asleens. Some are in well-maintained new armor. Their hair is neatly braided. Many of them have ribbons laced through the braids. Others are far more wild looking. Their hair is unkept. Their armor is definitely worn, as are the weapons that are on their belts. But it's not just Asleens that are sitting here in the bar. In fact, at the bar in this tavern, we have our 4 adventurers. And we come mid-conversation as the 4 of them try to figure out what the hell they're going to do in this town that they have found.
Well, I mean, we're certainly going to have to deal with this boar one way or another. It doesn't sound like it's good news, and maybe it'll help promote our reputation a little bit further. As for the rest
Some
of
of you have consciences. Osric.
So I think Osric sits and he wrings his hands a bit and he looks at each of his compatriots and says, "Yes, I think we should deal with this boar."
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a solid plan. I think that'll, assuming we all survive, bring to the forefront our reputation and make that even more apparent.
I'm not sure if that reputation is going to be a good thing for us or not, but either way, I think it's the right thing to do.
That too.
So Augur,
Make a story.
Augur comes up Another round?
About what time is it, Craig?
We are looking, I think, on the other side of lunch, if I remember correctly. Let me just take a quick look here. Actually, I had us a little bit later than that, so I've got
Okay.
us at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Could probably do one more, then we might want to head back, unless you folks are feeling adventurous and want to go talk to the nice people on the bridge.
That might not be the best idea.
That was my thinking.
As much as I would like to know of the castle on the other side, it's best not to start a fight.
Well, maybe if we get rid of a demon boar, it'll help. Yeah, I'll
Do
take
we
one.
remember when the farmer said the boar would tend to strike? Is that an evening thing? Is that an anytime
Yeah,
thing?
usually dusk and in the evenings is when it
Okay.
would.
Yeah, he
would
told us.
show up.
He told us to come by tomorrow, I think is what he said.
Correct.
Okay.
No, I think I'm fine to wait. We can always improve our reputation and then see if we can gain audience.
Yeah, maybe he'll want to
Figure
talk
out
to
what's
us.
happening with the mystery person in the keep. Because they always come down in a mask, as I recall, right? The person that comes down and like
Yes.
Yeah,
is in the ceremony, and the ceremony is like tomorrow or the next
day
day.
after
days.
tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah, it's in a few days. It's a big
Pig
ceremony
tomorrow.
festival.
Pig tomorrow, ceremony the next day.
Yep.
Easy
Maybe
peasy.
maybe we can serve bacon at the festival.
Demon bacon.
So if I remember
Spicy.
correctly, Aldrich, you'd already paid for the first round.
That is correct.
If memory serves. Augur standing there, and he's not being impatient. He's kind of tending to his stuff, but he's staying purposely within earshot as you guys deliberate whether you want another drink or not, let alone whether you're going to fight another boar.
Well, Sten's definitely going to have another drink.
Sure, we'll have another round.
All right. So you flag him over. He says same thing.
Yeah, it's tasty.
Yes.
Just
I hear you-
water for me.
Water.
Yes.
You
Like for plants?
are talking about helping the farmers to the south. Is that what I'm hearing?
Thinking about it. And it sounded like, check me if I'm wrong on this, it sounded like he was, if not exactly friendly, at least kind of acquainted with the farmer that came through.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't
He's
know.
in the impression that we got was that Augur is a little bit of the peacekeeper, the mayor. The town is his namesake, Augerville, and from his family. So yeah, and he seems to be very friendly with the farmers and cordial with the Quards, and definitely friendly. Seems friendly with the Galdanes.
Okay. I would also
So he's actually
probably-
friendlier with the group that we have not yet actually met.
He
Yeah.
seems to have been, based on how he was interacting with them, when there was a threat of a little bit of a scuffle there.
Right, but the Quards are the ones that started the mix up for his dad or his sixth cousin or whatever when they had the riot and burned down half the town or whatever, right? Because the Quards are feisty.
And the Quards, if you remember, came second, right? So first it was the Galdanes that showed up to try to join the army of Zeratome. And then right before the Blood Mist fell, that's when the Quards made camp. But they're both of them are of Asseline descent. All right, so they both came from the far west.
Cool. So yeah, we're thinking about it, unless you're got some information we don't have. That was directed at Augur.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because he had asked if we were going to help him.
Yeah. So he goes, this round's on me.
Much appreciated.
Oh, thank you.
So he comes back with 4 ales and a water. And he puts the water in front of you, Aldrich, and then looks at the ale, looks at you, looks at the ale, looks at you, and slides it towards you.
I won't pass on it, and I happily take it.
All right, well, to your health then.
Yeah. To the boar slayers, which we'll need to catch your name
Clinks.
in 2 nights, hopefully.
Yeah.
So as you're drinking,
Mm-hmm.
like I mentioned at the last session, you've got half of the tavern keeping to itself, the other half of the tavern keeping to itself.
Mm-hmm.
But you hear the door open. And as you turn, this person is not Asleen. Definitely not Quard. Definitely not Galdane. She might be the most attractive woman you have ever seen. She's tall, slender, in a gorgeous but practical gown. She's got white hair that falls all the way to her hips. She's got it beautifully braided onto one side and flying free or untied on the other side. Her skin is almost like porcelain, very pale, but not unhealthy. As she steps in, all the men at all the tables turn their head. And you hear whispers, you hear talk, but nobody's talking to her. Vasilla, you notice what might be a lute at your height strapped to her back. Sten, you notice she has yellow eyes.
Really? So I'll just kind of, as we're, not to be staring, but kind of turn back towards the bar. And if I catch any of the other guys, I'll just kind of do one of these.
For a person that wasn't there for like the first, I don't know, however many sessions, yellow eyes?
How do you not know about yellow eyes,
Oh my
Dave?
God, were you at the briefing?
Sorry, I must have went over my head.
That's it. Give him a red shirt.
That was the mysterious
Dalb,
druid / bard like person
right.
that we
and
met
also
at
the deer that
tower?
we followed to get to the tower.
Right. So the first
Got it.
encounter with something with yellow eyes was the deer, right? The stag that you followed.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Right.
you had Dalb, who met you outside of Weatherstone. He had made camp outside of Weatherstone and gave you some hints and tips
Mm-hmm.
for.
Sorry, I just grouped those two together as one thing. They are the druid bard thing.
Right.
We can
Drard.
pretend that
Making
that the
assumptions,
stag
sir.
and the
Mhm.
person are not the same.
Right. Yeah.
To me, they are.
Fair
Wink.
enough.
I think Aldrich's not very subtle. Like he would after
Mhm.
Sten does
Uh-huh.
the look.
Uh-huh.
There's a really obvious look and then like turns back.
So as she slowly starts walking to the bar itself,
Mhm.
you see Augur acknowledges her,
Mm-hmm.
gives her a bit of a wave. Do we want to brief Dave real quick on the interactions with Dalb so he gets a sense? So there was this stag that they followed and it led them to Weatherstone.
Mm-hmm.
But should we quickly talk about what happened with Dalb for the audience and for Dave?
Sure. So basically, and this is going to be mostly from memory, Craig. So check me if I
Sure.
get anything horribly wrong, or the rest of you guys too. Basically, he said that he was just a wandering minstrel who was camped outside Weatherstone. He had talked to some other treasure hunters who had gone into the place, and he told us about the horrible beast that was there. That part at least turned out to be true.
He told us about Rustbite too.
He did tell us that the King's Sword was the only thing that could kill it. We didn't actually test that.
True.
But he also seemed to be sort of a big fan of Zygofer, who is the ancient king who killed all the demons, but also has some negative reputations with a lot of folks. So it's not entirely clear where he stands. Also, that he didn't really, fess up to being a shape-shifting stag person or anything like that. So for Sten, at least, he seemed knowledgeable, but also not entirely trustworthy.
Also, Vasilla was enamored with Dalb.
That is true, because he was a musician and taught her some stuff, as I recall.
Well, that's good because I'm going to be enamored of this person anyway.
I mean, sure.
Understandable.
And he also
When
had a
we
very
went to the-
mysterious exit where he kind of like vanished into the
Yes, he
trees
just sort
or
of
what
wasn't
have you.
there.
So he's
Mhm.
that's
And then when we were in the rotting fortress, they were also excited about Zygofer.
Yeah, they're the Rust brothers who were sort of his they're followers of his is the impression I get.
Did
They're
we have
trying
we
to.
had a connection between Rust Brothers and Zygofer specifically?
I
didn't think
have
we
in
had.
my notes saying that the Rust brothers serve Zygofer. I don't know.
Okay.
Dalb made that clear that
Mhm.
the Rust brothers.
Okay.
One of the things that the Rust brothers are doing is they're looking for these gems, right? These artifacts and trying to collect them so that they can deliver them to Zygofer, and he can truly close all of the demon portals and drive them back and
Yeah.
restore Ravensland to where it is.
Gems and things like magical scepters and that kind of thing.
One which you have, or you believe you have.
Yes. By the way, Craig, is this, as far as I can tell, is this woman human?
Human or maybe half elf.
Okay, I don't know that Sten has ever met an elf, so I don't know what make the distinction.
She there's something different about her.
Sure.
No question. But it could be just the fact that, and it's something that's really difficult to put your finger on it, right?
Okay.
Like if you were to tell somebody, hey, I met the most beautiful woman in my entire life, and they go,
Mhm.
well, what made her so beautiful? You'd be like, well,
She just was.
yeah. Yeah. So she's headed towards you, but not like towards you, just appears
Towards
to be
the
headed
bar.
to the bar.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna so I get a little mischievous smirk on my face.
You say
And
that like it's something new.
True, fair.
It
I get
disappeared
an
for one moment
even
and then came
more
back.
mischievous smirk on my face, and Stan feels the hairs on the neck of the back of his neck
Constantly.
stand up. It's like, not again. And I get out my lute, and like I play like a little like, boom, like a little like, hey, what's up?
So as soon as the lute comes out and the note rings out through the tavern, it immediately quiets everybody. And this woman pauses for a second and kind of looks at you and gives you kind of a half smirk and just a little bit of an acknowledgement. And she's now coming. I want you to imagine the bar is a corner bar, okay? And I want to imagine you're on one side. She appears to be headed to the other side where no one else is. So you'll be catty corner to her, facing her, if when she reaches the bar. By the time she gets there, you can see some sort of wine already in front of her.
So Augur clearly knows this person had her
amazing
drink.
bartender.
Good job, Augur. Way to do the basic, the second step of being a good bartender. All right, so I'm going to like drink my drink too fast and like slam it down.
Chug.
And then I'm gonna like get up and I'm gonna start a song as I wander the room again, and I'm going to try to craft a song about Daub, who I'm going to name drop. But then I'm going to add a lot of like exciting things that Daub did, because Daub turned into a stag, and then he ran from then he ran
For clarity,
from
we
a
did not
wolf
see him
as a
turn
stag.
into
A
a
giant
stag.
wolf was chasing him, and then he turned into a bird, and he
I'm
flew
doing this
away.
story.
And just like super duper fanciful. Like
And-
starts with like little
And
bits
it's
of
like
things that make
we
sense.
all like at the start of that line, he's like, she's not. Oh, she did.
So where is Vasilla doing this? So she's chugged her ale.
I chugged my ale. I'm going to like, because I'm small, I'm going to take a step up onto an unused table.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm just going to stand on a table. And then as I like start going, once I get into it and like figure out what I'm doing and get to like the chorus, once I figure out the chorus, because I'm like doing this all on the fly. Once I figure out the chorus, then I will move tables. So like I'm moving around the room, like getting like closer, like just
Working the
around the
room.
room, but to get closer to her. But I'm doing it on the parts where I already figured it out, so I can move
So
while not screwing up.
a lot of things happen as you start playing and singing Vasilla. First, there's a little bit of shock from the Aslines, both the Galdines as well as the Quards are like, whoa, she's just going to play, I guess, right? You're just like, whoa. And it doesn't take much for you to quickly win them over, though. So as you're playing, hey, thanks for the raid. Welcome to Forbidden Lands. As you're playing, the woman, she definitely is watching you. And you see a bit of a smile on her face. And let's have Sten notice this. Sten, you can see her hand keeping time. So not only is she acknowledging it, but I think she's really, really enjoying it as well.
Okay.
She sips her wine. She looks to the three gentlemen at the bar and gives you a bit of an acknowledgement and a smile. But Vasilla, you have got her attention.
Awesome. Then once I get done the song, I'm going to give her a nod. I'm going to finish the song by Augur, and I'm like, "Good sir, may I have another?" And then once I get another, I will raise it to the room and say, "To Dalb the trickster," and then
Ooh. So few things. One, you say to Augur, hey, can I have another? And as he turns to pour from the barrel, there seems to be some communication that happens between this woman and Augur. She seems to have a bit of a gesture with her hand. He acknowledges it and comes back and he goes, "This one is on Marigal."
Then I'll give her the like. To Dalb the trickster.
So that actually elicits a bit of a chuckle from her. So she she gives a little bit of a laugh and she joins in with the cheers.
And then I'll head back to the table.
So she turns to you, Osric, and you're the one closest to her, and she says, "Is the little one with you?"
So I think before the breaking out into the song of Daub the trickster, Osric was a bit lost in his cup, and so he was sort of sitting there, sort of just kind of staring into his cup and thinking about it, and perhaps sipping occasionally. And then I think at the note of turned into a stag, he might have sort of pulled him out of that and been like, wait, what's happening over there? Right, like he didn't see the beginnings of that. And so I think at this point now it's more of a, oh, well, all of that just happened sort of a thing. And he says, she is, sometimes she can be a bit of trouble.
So have you met this Dalb the trickster that she sings of?
How do I want to put this? What I think I want to say.
Yeah, Sten is kind of letting you
just
take
lean
this
back,
one.
like. We've met a mysterious man named Dalb, but the last tends to embellish a bit when she crafts her tunes.
She made him seem very interesting.
That he was.
He was definitely that.
Your face is a trickster.
I think you've had one too many, Vasilla.
So she chuckles a little bit. So I don't believe I've ever seen you here in Augerville. Now, as this is happening, by the way, Vasilla, you have men kind of coming up to the bar and slapping coin down next to you. So go ahead and add about 15 copper to your sheet. That's your total take.
Nice.
The horseman really, really enjoyed that. And she kind of addresses this to all four of you.
gonna have to start doing party magic to make some money.
Well, no, I think the coins mean they want her to take her clothes off. But
Whoa! Settle down, creepy old man.
I didn't say. You notice you got no coins from me.
So she says, "Don't believe I've seen you here in Augerville."
Just made our way in last night.
It wasn't last night, right?
Yeah, basically
Yeah.
last evening.
Are you these demon killers I'm hearing about?
Oh yes, we've killed many a demon. That's a lie. We've killed
Singular
maybe
demon.
one demon. But Osric wasn't scared at all, and neither was Sten. Sten was very brave. He was right there.
And you have plans for your stay? Are you going to make home here?
Haven't really decided yet. Just
We're pretty
getting
excited
a
about this
feel
whole
for the lay
mist
of the
thing
land.
not happening anymore, although it kind of did happen once, and so that's kind of scary. I don't know if we want to go back out there, but it stopped happening mostly, and so we kind of just want to check out the world. And Sten's trying to do it before he dies, because he's old.
Trying to do it before one of us dies, anyway.
So where did you come in from? Where have you lived all this time before the mist lifted?
Up a bit northeast, small town.
West, was it? I think.
Be a little bit northwest, yeah.
Okay.
Wasn't it northwest?
Okay.
Okay.
Little town on the river. You probably never heard of it.
Well, it was a pleasure. And she's been sipping her wine, as she talks. Last you looked, there was about half a glass left. But as she says that, it was nice to meet you, nice talking to you.
Indeed.
The glass is empty. She stands up, leaves a silver on the table. The wine,
More
there's
than
no-
the wine.
That's
yeah.
good.
I was gonna say maybe we should try the wine.
And she starts to walk away.
Will we see you again, madam?
Well, she turns, she goes, "Oh, that's up to you."
Are you certainly not the Quards nor the Galdanes?
Oh, no. But I've been here for a bit, and I might leave again soon. Augur has very good wine. And you see him pulling the coin and putting it in his pocket.
Are you staying for the festival tomorrow or 2 days from now?
Oh, of course. Of course, the blessing of the stone. It's one of the reasons to come visit Augerville. It's an amazing ceremony.
Looking forward to it.
So she kind of gives you a tip, even though she wasn't wearing a hat. She kind of acknowledges you and heads out the front door.
Oh, that was a heck of a lady.
That was
I
mighty strange.
immediately look over to Augur and I'm like, so what's her story?
Marigold. Much like your little friend here, she's good with the strings and the picking. I have to say that you come close, little girl.
Well, thank you.
She's come and gone. I think she may be one that wasn't affected by the mist, because she would come and go while the mist was still down. And she's often in the castle. One of the few.
Oh, so there are other people who can go to that castle. Come out alive.
But to answer your question, I don't know, and she pays me not to know.
If I had a gold for every traveling minstrel who seemed to be able to survive the mist, I'd have 2 gold. That's not a lot, but it's weird that it's happened.
More than you'd expect, though.
But it's weird that it's happened twice.
So, so surviving the mist is not like a thing, right? Like that's like Yeah. All right.
Well, no, but it is a thing, right? Like there are people like
We have
nomadic
heard of
peoples
people
that
shown
were
here
not
actual size.
impacted by the mist, or at
Correct.
least
So it's
we
not
hear
it's
tales
not
of
never happened, but it's always, as far as Oakenheart is concerned, it was not
Right.
seen. And it's a bit of legend, right? I had a friend who had a cousin who's mailman, you know.
Mhm. Well, I mean, both the ones we've seen are traveling bards. Maybe they don't really have a home.
Maybe I could have been traveling in the mist all this time.
That's what I was gonna say. Like,
You should try it next time we come up on the mist.
It's an idea.
for
Stead.
science.
All right. Well, I'm going to probably be drunk because I'm like 3'5".
Like we
You have
And I
drank
haven't
your
tried.
height in beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feel like I'm pretty much good to go here. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to do while we're in town.
And Sten, you said you thought you wanted to do some shopping.
Yeah, actually, Craig, I was going to ask, do the Quards, because we've seen their warriors like training and doing something like anything, do they wear helmets as part of their standard kit?
So you saw some leather helmets, but there's obviously both in the Quard camp and it appears inside this village. You also saw blacksmiths, so you
Right.
saw metal
Awesome.
being worked
Yeah.
as well. But
I mean, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, that's it.
I was going to say I'm definitely more interested in the leather cap, and all things being equal, I would probably go back and talk to the Quards and see if I could get someone there to make me one.
I was thinking, since I know we have a little bit of leather between me and I believe
I might have
Osric
a
has one.
hide or so.
Yeah, I know. I found some. I don't know who wound up carrying it.
I am
I was
carrying
going
a
to
belt.
see if maybe I could make use of their tanning facilities and maybe spend some time trying to make a couple helmets and see if they can maybe for a discount provide the rest of the cover the rest of the cost of the iron and whatever else it takes to finish off a like a studded leather cap or two.
Sure. So you guys head back to the Quard camp. Thanks for the cheers. And everybody's doing their business. Interestingly enough, I think to a certain degree you expected Vivi to show up, but she doesn't come running to Sten as soon as he steps outside of the tavern.
Or Sten
She's
meters
making
not
her
going
bow.
off. Like, Sten.
Osric, actually, I'll take that leather off you if you want.
Sure. Is that a
Since
thing I
that's
can
kind of-
move to you, or do I just drop it? I'll
Just
drop
yeah,
to 0
just-
and you drop to and you bump to
exactly.
whatever.
Okay, that'll
Yeah.
work. Cool.
Also, I just realized if we have some time at some point, my armor is still a little damaged. So
Okay.
if you're wanting to get some practice in,
I think probably day's preparations is going to be like me working at the forge and the leather, the tannery.
Well, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and montage this quarter day. How does that sound?
Okay.
And let's start off with someone's mic is, I think it's, who is it? Someone's mic is close to their earphones because I'm picking up an echo. So we can have Aldrich work the armor. Sten, you take the leather and see if we can't get a helmet made.
well, I can, but I thought Aldrich was going to be trying to make the helmets.
Oh.
Yeah. I was going to see if I could maybe, basically bring the pelts, get it turned into leather, because I can do that. I just don't have the smithing talent. So I was going to see if I could work with a smith to work on helmets after we get the leather made.
All right. Well, let's do a roll then this quarter for you to try to tan that those hides.
Okay. So that is a crafting roll.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and roll that. And that's looking good.
That's looking real good. So yeah, you have no trouble turning that into leather.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, so we've got a whole quarter day here. So that's what Aldrich is doing, is working on those hides and trying to get them ready and tanned. Dave and Jim?
I am going to. I don't know. I'm going to go find their lore keeper, whoever like that might be. I assume they have some kind of like holder of tales and songs and things, and I'm just going to go learn some new things, new ballads, new stuff.
Okay. All right. So let's have you find actually one of the older gentlemen. Can you guys hear me, Echo?
I
No,
can
I'm
hear
not
a
hearing
Just
you.
very
tiny
tiny
bit of
bit.
echo.
I wonder if
Odd.
it's me then.
I don't know. Oh, it's gone now. Okay, good.
Aha.
And it's me for some reason. That's weird.
You find, I think one of the members of the magic community that Aldrich encountered, and let's have him having been in the bar at tavern at the time, and he loves to sit down and spends the quarter day talking to you. What is the type of discussion you want to have? Is there information you're hoping to glean?
I guess since we've taken up demon slaying, I guess apparently, and he's a magic man. Beside, I think tales of sorcerers and slaying of demons and like the ancients and the wars of past times. If the lore of blood magic is or whatever druidism has passed down, like, oh yeah, there was Johnny the Great and he slew 12 demons by the power of his, I don't know, very
So there's a
pupils.
reason you don't write lore, Dave. All right, so let's. I would like a roll, Dave. So let's do some sort of social roll here.
Okay.
Your charming
I
self.
think so. Manipulation doesn't feel super right, but maybe that's where it lands. I've got performance, insight, lore. There's nothing like friendly,
do
so I would say manipulation probably.
Yeah, let's do manipulation. And the number of successes will deem how much information we get of any use. Okay, so we got one success. We've got one bane. Do you wish to push it?
Well, we're not hunting demons till tomorrow, yeah?
Aye.
That's the plan.
So
As long as
I'm gonna
the
go ahead and
demons are
push
hunting
it.
us.
Okay.
Push it real good.
Oh, I forget the slow roll when you push.
The drama. Oof, ouch.
Oof.
Stressful, but some good successes.
Where does this put your empathy?
My empathy is down to 3. I was a 6.
Oh, you have a ton of empathy. So I think the first thing is I want to try to narrate this situation, right? So you're sitting down, you start having the conversation, and he seems, somewhat, somewhat forthcoming, but not really. Seems to be hiding a whole lot of information, not giving you the full deal. How do you push this? How do you get to the point where you've gotten 3 successes and you're going to get a pretty good wealth of information from him?
I'm gonna play on the fact that I look like a child to them, and like, so I want to know more about this. So I'm gonna like keep asking him like excitedly, like fitting my personality, but like excited story. Like, did he do great magics and shoot fire from his hands and try to get him to like, no, really what happened is blah 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 blah, and like and just play on that kind of like I'm an excited child completely. I'm not asking you questions, I'm not trying to get you to tell me more stuff, I'm just excitable and young.
All right, so this emotionally affects you though.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I'm being a manipulative jackass.
Okay.
because I'm using skills that I have to.
Wait, and this bothers you?
Yeah. Sometimes. This guy actually like turns out to be a nice guy, and I feel bad about him. When I do it to you, I never.
You don't care.
Bad.
Fair enough.
Funny.
Fair enough.
So, a couple things. One, the subject of Marigold comes up, and he doesn't appear to be a huge fan of her. Doesn't seem to trust her that much. He seems very suspicious of the fact that she seems to be buddy with Zertome, which for this particular guy, and you get a sense this is not an Aisling take. This is definitely isolated to him. He seems a little suspicious of Zertome. He's here with his people, and has been here, through all of this. But you definitely get the feeling that he's not captain of the fan club. And the fact that Marigold seems to be buddy with him immediately makes him suspicious of her. You also learn that apparently Zertome is quite a sorcerer, according to him, and a master of firework. He calls it the magic of Horn, which is if you remember, is the god, the Aisling god, the fire god. And he talks about, there's nights that you would see just bright raging fires being from within the castle at different times. And he just wishes that Zertome would share this incredible knowledge and this connection to Horn that he apparently has. He talks about tragedy for that family. How, his father started as a good man, Zygerfer, but seemed to be corrupted by the demons. And though people will dispute this, there's no doubt in his mind that he's dead. He talks about the death of Zertome's sister at the hands of demons. He talks about the death of the wife at the hands of demons as well. Though it's not real clear why Zygerfer is dead in his mind, but he seems pretty convinced that he is. The mask. Though he's never seen Zertome's face, from what he's been told, Zertome's face is horribly burned and scarred. And he says, I'm sure it's him dabbling in this fire magic that led to that. I'm trying to think. You got 3 successes. Is there any gaps I can fill for Vasilla? Is there anything else from a lore perspective?
I guess from a wider lore perspective, I was also looking for demon slaying tips from lore. So like we in Vasilla's mind, we got super duper lucky that Ostrich just went Hulk mode on this crazy scary giant snake thing that showed up and ripped a person in half. That looked like a man half a second ago. So like I'm interested in, is there a way to tell demons? Colors of eyes, perhaps? Like any kind of like, a dude who seemed like an okay kind of person turned into a giant snake thing and that ripped someone apart. And Vasilla is a tiny person that sings songs. So this is so I'm in a
Very
personal worry.
inspirational
Like,
songs.
yeah, like I'm like that kind of like that kind of like, hey, so stories about demons. Demons are a real thing, turns out. Weird.
So there's a few things that are interesting. One, he questions whether you killed a demon, because you describe the demon being chopped up and transforming back to this man that you saw before, right? In this transformation. He says, you don't kill demons, you banish demons. You return them back to the demon, the plane that they come from. I've never heard of a demon has physical, that can be cut or chopped apart as you claim your friend did. There are still many things in Raven's Land that we don't know. but he questions whether that's demons. He talks about enchanted artifacts being effective with demons and banishing them. And, you know, there's very few tales around the death of demons because he thinks it doesn't happen. He thinks the only thing that can kill this is somebody like Zerto and magic and powerful magic.
Powerful. Okay.
Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. Osric, quarter day.
The quarter day. Huh. I had all that time to think, and yet I didn't come up with an
You're
answer.
just glued to me.
So, like, I don't like. Part of me wants to just do sword forms and throw another point in Path of the Blade.
Do you got the XP for it?
I do.
Let's do it. I love that idea.
I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think he's
Mhm.
going to go off, sort of by himself, and he's gonna do some sword forms. And he's gonna.
Let's have you meet somebody who sits and watches you for a while and maybe mirrors you a little bit, and maybe you guys exchange tips. There's the forms that the Asling use are very different than what you've ever seen, Osric, and you're a lot of things but not trained, right?
Right.
Excuse me. So yeah, I think there's a bit of a mentorship that happens there, but it's mutual. In game terms, I think you both leveled up with those few hours that you spent with each other. So just out of curiosity, what does it do mechanically?
So mechanically, rank 2 of Path of the Blade will be once you have used up all of your actions during a round, you can spend a willpower to immediately attack again in close combat.
Nice.
Very
Awesome.
nice.
Good.
Very, very nice.
And talents are 3 a tier, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Sten.
Mm-hmm. Well, since the helmet situation appears to be under control, Sten would actually like to try and, if she's available, talk to Meridia a little bit.
Sure. So you go to her tent,
Mhm.
and there's a gentleman outside who's been outside for most of the times that you've come
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
Explains that Meridia is not there, but you are welcome. She should be back in moments, and he escorts you into her tent.
Okay.
Sits you down, makes sure that you have any food or drink that is needed. And then maybe after 15-20 minutes,
Okay.
she shows up.
Okay. So Sten will, I don't know what I've picked up, if it's like, if they bow to her or anything like that, but he'll sort of clumsily do whatever, respect is appropriate and say, I hope I'm not, I'm not inconveniencing you. I don't want to take away from any of your time running your group here.
Not at all, Hunter. Not at all.
So a few odd things have happened since we're here, and I wanted to just ask you a little bit and see if you might be able to tell me something about them. We met this woman in town, goes by the name of Marigold, I think. Do you know anything about her? Because she seemed weirdly familiar.
So I've not spent much time with Marigold. She seems to keep to the village. Doesn't interact much either with us or with the Galdanes, as far as I know. She's a pretty regular staple at Augur's place. Sometimes she'll play. She'll be here for a few days, then be gone. Come back for a few days, be gone. I think outside of Palacus, she may be the only other person I know that has actually gone in to the castle. Palacus is not much of a friend of hers. I don't know if that's jealousy or what, but he's made it clear to me that I shouldn't trust her. But I will say that I've been given no reason outside of Palacus, who, and she kind of looks just to make sure you're alone. She goes, he can be of a bit of a paranoid man.
I was going to ask, and I again, I don't mean to pry, but how did he get to the castle? I'm assuming he came here with the Quards, with your group originally.
Well, we've been here generations.
Oh, that's right. You came here just before the mist.
Yeah.
So
He showed aptitude as a sorcerer very young, and we of course encourage that, right? We've got a whole tribe within that focuses on that. And I think it was his aptitude that first got his attention. It was at one of the festivals, actually, that he was chosen to participate as part of the cooling of the rock. And that's, I think, when he first got Zertom's attention. He was invited to the castle. And now that he's, coming on in years, I would say him and Zertom have easily been connected and talked for 20, 30 years now.
So is that something that happened before with people in his position as the priest, or?
I've never seen that before. Outside of, as best as I know, right? As best as I know, the only people that have been in the castle are, of course, Zertom. It's his. Palakis, and then, of course, Marigal apparently goes there, though I've never seen her come and go. I've seen Palakis come and go and cross the bridge.
Okay.
And you see her kind of stop for a second,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes, that actually may not be entirely true. So there's talk, and I never know if this is just drunk Galdane talk or whether it's real or not, but I have heard rumors that there is someone living in the castle with him. And the rumors I've heard, some say it's his mistress, a woman that he keeps. I've heard talk that she is actually a Valkyrie and a prisoner. That seems to be more what the Galdeans talk about.
Quick question, Craig. Valkyrie, is that a defined term in this
Not
world?
for you, no.
Okay.
So if you ask, she just
I would actually say Valkyrie. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a very, very strong, powerful warrior woman is what Valkyrie means for her. But the name is always consistent, and that's Brynhilda. But again, that I can tell you Palakis. I can tell you Marigal. Because Palakis has told me that he's been in the presence of both Zertom and Marigal in the castle.
And he hasn't mentioned this Brynhilda.
Palakis knows nothing of this Brynhilda. And most of the rumors are coming from Galdanes. But I don't know. Who knows?
Fair enough. How would they know? Because none of your people go to the castle, right?
I don't know. I mean, he won't even trust the Galdanes to guard. He only trusts us to guard the castle.
It's the nature of rumors, I guess. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for that. And as he kind of stands up to go, he kind of takes a couple steps towards this tent door and stops. And he kind of takes a deep breath and turns around and comes over and sort of very quietly, you had mentioned last night that if I understood you correctly, there was a possibility of companionship.
It wouldn't have been me that mentioned it, but I'm sure one of my men who took you to
okay, that's
took
Brian
you to your
messing up, and I
tent.
thought it was her.
Could do that.
Yeah, I apologize for that. And he's already getting red.
Yeah. Because let me phrase it this way: would you like a guest for dinner tonight?
No, that's not. No, that's not. And what Sten's thinking is definitely not at dinner, because then the others will see her.
Who's she?
Exactly. I'm
Sten.
sorry I brought it up.
Oh,
And he just kind of shuffles out of the door.
So as evening goes, you guys are all served dinners at your tents, each of your individual tents, which again are just by far the nicest place you've slept in
Mhm.
your whole life, let alone the last 2 weeks, right? The only thing different is the woman who brings Sten his food seems to be just kind of stands there trying to, like, she serves the food and
Mhm. I mean, assuming we're eating in our individual tents,
correct.
Sten would probably strike up a conversation at least. And, basically, not to horribly disappoint anybody, Sten has not talked to anyone about his feelings since his wife died like 30 years ago. And this is someone he's probably never going to see again. So, I
Yeah.
mean, more than anything else, he just wants to talk to somebody who is going to be,
You broke Aldrich.
So
You
I'm
know.
gonna try to describe this, Brian, and if I get anything wrong, you tell me. I'm imagining her bringing you a tray, right, with your food, and conspicuously there's 2 glasses on the tray with the wine. She stands there and just stands, which I would imagine takes Sten longer than it probably should to figure out why she's just standing
I
there,
mean,
right?
maybe. Although, given the discussion earlier and the fact that he's seen 2 of the most gorgeous women he's ever seen today, means it's probably not too far from his mind.
And there's a bit of a silence. I'm imagining Sten
He would
starting
gesture
to
her to sit down.
starting to say something, then he stops himself.
Yeah.
And I think the gesture that causes her to sit with you is you pour yourself wine, then you look at her and you pour the second glass. She nods, she sits down, she offers a cheers, and you clink glasses, and then we'll fade to black on that. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So I was going to have us wake up the next morning. You tell me if we don't want to do that.
I
The
definitely
only
want to
thing that
wake
I
up.
wanted to do that night is I wanted to talk to Aldrich,
Okay.
to discuss past information, right? Like,
Yep.
Actually, yeah, that Aldrich was probably like in his tent, like kind of stretching because his arms are sore. He's been working leather for the past, like 4 to 6 hours. So he's like sore up. And then you start talking about, powerful fire sorcery. And suddenly it's like, go on.
Go on.
the part that I'm going to linger on is that probably not a demon. Like that part is stuck, right? Like maybe this creature was one of your kind that practices, shape shifting or whatever you guys do.
The man himself was definitely of sorceress blood. The question is, maybe perhaps he was bound to the demon and therefore was still human enough to be chopped. And then once
to a demon?
There's a lot of mysteries that even I don't know. We didn't have many books about this back in Oakenheart.
There were books in Oakenheart?
There was like one.
Yeah, and you had
like
it
50 times. Yeah. So perhaps he was just human enough to be choppable. And then once we finished the chopping, the demony bits dispersed.
So out of curiosity, is there questions Aldrich, knowing that Vasilla had this conversation for hours with this old man, is there any questions Aldrich would ask Vasilla that Vasilla might have the answers to, and I can provide them as part of that conversation?
Maybe any additional any additional details about the ritual involving the river would be of interest.
Which he definitely shared with Vasilla. So Vasilla, you share back to Aldrich. Apparently it is some sort of tribute thank you to the river. And they find a large stone. And when he says large, he kind of put his arms out, as far as they could go, large. And it takes several men, and they build a fire and put the stone in the middle of this fire and heat it up till you can actually see the red of the stone start to turn to fire as a tribute to Horn and a thank you to the river. And before it cracks and before the stone breaks, they bring buckets of water from the river and they put out the fire and they cool the rock. And then the rock will be put somewhere significant. So it might be someone's farm for good luck, or suddenly you're like, oh yeah, there was kind of this big ass stone in front of Augur's place,
what I was about to ask.
So that's the ritual. So it's definitely something to do with Horn, but also tied to the river. And the big thing is that you have to cool it down before the stone breaks. And he even told Vasilla at one point, they've had years where the rock would crack and it would be considered failure, and then anything bad that happened in Amber's Peak that year was blamed on the cracked rock.
The dang rock.
Yeah,
all the crack rock. It got blamed on the crack rock.
That's exactly right.
And the fire, was that man-made or was that the work of Zertorm?
No, man-made. And just incidentally, Zertorm would just observe. So he would observe from the bridge. It would be on your side of the river, on the side of the village. This would be done, and he would be there with some guards on the bridge, and he would observe. So he doesn't really
partake at all. Interesting.
Right. Very interesting.
Yeah,
just a lot of stories of his sorceress might, but not many public displays.
And even the tales of sorceress might seem to come slowly from his mouth. Sad to say that I had to bring up his daughter's passing and push on that.
All right, so let's start a new day. Well fed. Some of us are very relaxed, and we wake up to a brand new day. All of us wake up alone. How are we going to start the day?
Today's the day of boar hunting.
Right. And if I remember right, he wanted us to come over in the
evening.
Did
he say evening or morning?
Okay. Yeah, I thought he wanted to come. Come have us come at night.
Okay. Sure. Well, I mean, I'll take my time getting dressed, stretching out, and then see where everyone
How do I heal my empathy?
It's automatic.
Cool. Yeah, resting.
Night's rest.
That's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure.
Yep.
I think Aldrich's fairly mind on the mission, so he's probably gonna catch a light breakfast and then probably stop by Sten, get his armor since he knows it's damaged, and then head back to the forge and tannery and see if he can basically spend the day mostly doing work and preparing gear.
Okay.
Right.
So the first quarter
action ready.
First quarter day, do we want to craft this helmet or?
Yeah, I suppose that would be probably the first order.
All right, let's give it a try.
Okay. While you're picking that up, Sten would mention that he's heard rumors that there's this other Brynhilda person in the castle, whether a prisoner or a bodyguard or a mistress or whatever.
Interesting.
And just so you know, in general, for me as a GM, unless you tell me I'm not going to share this, I'm going to assume at some point knowledge that's given to just one of you is shared among you. But if you remember last time, Aldrich did not share the thing about the kid, right?
Yeah.
About the son.
Just with his mother.
Narc. You know, that seems more relevant than sharing it with you three chuckleheads.
So yeah, I'll always assume that unless I hear explicitly otherwise.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I'd like to see if I can enlist, because again, I don't have the smithing talents to basically finish off a helmet. So like, I'd be trying to work with the local smith and try to get 2 of these made since we have enough leather. So basically have the smith work side by side with me, kind of show me half the process.
And he, out of sheer gratitude for saving the princess, provides the medal.
Awesome.
As a gift. So 1 success gives you 1 helmet, 2 successes gets you 2 helmets. How's that sound?
All right, sounds good to me. Let's go for it. I'm gonna go ahead and push for it.
Okay.
There we are.
Beautiful.
All right. So you're going to take, what is your strength?
4. So I just took half my strength.
Gotcha.
damage.
So you're down to 2. So exhausting, right?
I'm sure you won't
Absolutely
need that for fighting a demon. tonight.
exhausting. All right. So let's take a quick look here. I need to open up.
I was looking at
uh,
open helmets.
Yep. Sten. So let's do.
No, you're looking at
open
Studded leather, I think.
Oh, I was going for open just
Oh,
'cause
okay.
It's the
Well, I
same
mean,
amount
sure.
of leather.
Sure. I mean, if you can do that, then awesome.
All right. So open helmet is Sten. You should have that. You can equip it. And where's the second helmet going?
I was gonna go Sten and Osric.
no, those
All right.
Our
those
2
take
hitters.
2 days to make.
Oh, do they?
Well, don't equip it yet. Then it'll be ready tomorrow.
Oh,
But they're in your inventory when it's
Making
ready.
stuff takes time.
Sweet.
Okay.
Jim.
Sorry,
reading the rules.
I
Missed the time section of the equipment.
All right, so that's the quarter day for Aldrich. I've got quarter
Mhm.
days for the rest of you.
So Sten, especially as I'm looking at the impact of having this thing in my gear, is been, he's just kind of, he's feeling all right this morning. He's had a little bit of catharsis, and what I'm visualizing is he's seeing some of these guys, maybe some of their scouts or something, or like packing for a journey or whatever, and he's seeing how much stuff they're able to get into those saddlebags.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I want to try and talk to some of these guys if they're free to see if I can pick up the pack rat talent.
Okay.
Because I am always fully loaded.
Man, you could just talk to your good buddy Aldrich, but
So you see,
He's busy.
you're walking by and
Mhm,
you see this horse,
mhm,
and it's a quartered horse. So the leather on the saddle is just gorgeous,
mhm.
studded with metal, just beautiful work. And you strike up a conversation.
Mhm.
And as this conversation's happening, this guy keeps finding pockets
Mhm.
on this horse. And like he lifts a pocket and there's a pocket inside, and you just see him stuffing shit on this horse. And finally it
Mhm.
causes you to ask the question, right? Like, and he is so excited to show you.
Mhm.
And explains, if you do this and then if you fold here, and you'll notice that this pieces with this, and you can put that
You
inside
squeeze
of
all the
this.
air out of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Just takes you through the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
So you are going to get mentorship on this. Do you still have to do a will roll?
I don't think so. If I have a trainer, I think
I don't think you do either.
for
I
a
think
new
you just spent
talent. Yeah.
XP.
Yep.
So you
I'm
need me to
going to
add
do
that
that
for you, right?
thing.
So hold on one second.
I don't know. I might be able to add it myself.
You are not Ostrich. You are Sten.
Certainly.
There are days when I think about the pack rat talent as well, but I haven't picked it up yet.
it's nice.
All right, you should
It's
see it
nice.
there, Sten.
I do. Thank you very much.
All right.
Oh,
all right.
I can carry some things now.
So mechanically, can we tell the audience what that does?
Yeah, basically, the number of things you can carry in this system is equal to twice your strength. And since Den is primarily an archer, his strength is not great. So the pack rat talent at the first level just means you can carry 2 extra things, which for Sten makes a huge difference.
And then at rank 2, you can carry 5 more things.
It's just more stuff.
Whoa, rank 3, you can carry 10 more things. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Pack it up.
That's nice.
Someday, baby, someday.
That's nice.
We're gonna be pack masters.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Who
I've got
needs
a
a mule?
quarter day for Ostrich and a quarter day for Vasilla before we get to lunch.
I don't have much I want to do with Vasilla right this second. I think Vasilla is like very freaked out because like that combat with the apparently not a demon was super duper scary to her. So I think she's going to be like trying to like psych herself up. So if like someone walks by her tent, you're gonna like hear like someone like in a boxing, like the back ring of a boxing ring, just like getting like an inspirational speech, but it's to her, and she's like clearly trying to convince herself that like this is a good idea.
Is she slightly hungover, maybe?
I think so, because she probably used alcohol to loosen the tongue of
The old man.
Sorcerer. Yeah.
of the old man.
Okay. All right. So I'm good with that. Osric.
I think he might wander around the village and maybe just try to pick up just general knowledge and see if there's anything he can pick up around the space of not the Cords, the other folk whose name completely slipped my
Galdanes?
brain. The Galdanes, yes. Just
Okay.
to see if there's anything that more neutral parties or even parties who might be more favorable towards them would be able to provide.
Give me a manipulation. Let's see what we can figure out.
Oh, that's going to be terrible.
You may not be the most charming MFer out there.
Not quite.
I could push it.
You
Could happen. I better not. I only have 2 points. I'll roll snake eyes and then pass out.
Pass out from embarrassment.
It is I think, kind of a light moment in the episode where we see just how awkward Osric can be as he tries to start a conversation, and and it's in stark contrast to the connection he made with the other swordsman, right? So when it's dealing with swords and forms, Osric opens up and it is, chatty Cathy and has no trouble interacting and talking as long as the subject is around this warfare. But maybe he goes to Augur's place and tries to start a conversation, and the person's like, okay, and walks away, and so forth. It just doesn't quite do it. All right, so midday, everybody's done their thing.
So are we like meeting for lunch? Are we getting together? Are we still off doing our own things?
Let's assume that you gather together at lunch.
Okay. The one thing I'm thinking we might want to ask about, if we're going to go off and try and deal with this fire demon boar or big boar or fire boar or whatever it is, given the fondness these folks seem to have for their fire god, I want to make sure we don't cause any more trouble for ourselves here. We're on good terms with everybody. I'd like to not ruin that.
Sure.
Anybody know who might be able to tell us other than the priest?
I mean, there's a whole council of sorcerers, so perhaps there's more knowledge to be getting there. Vasilla seems to have made a connection with at least one of them.
And the farmer specifically mentioned that they talked to the Quards about this problem,
and nobody believed them.
And this is not a problem, right?
Right, but if we wind up killing this thing and somebody, Palakas comes down from the mountain and says, no, that was the great fire boar.
Right. No, yeah, I gotcha. I just...
So,
I don't disagree.
To clarify the Quards position, the Quards position is village business is village business.
Okay.
Right. And village problems are village problems.
Okay.
And
which is not quite the same thing as
right.
I don't believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Or I don't care.
The farmers seem to think they don't believe him. Maybe they just don't care.
Okay. So I'm definitely on board with plan. Let's make sure that the Quards don't think that we're now sacrilegiously
murdering the
their
avatar of their god.
Avatar of Horn or anything like that.
All right. Well, I will let someone who is better at talking to.
Oh, I got it. Hold on.
Okay.
The master.
So let's have you going
AKA
back to
not it.
Vasila's new friend, old man. I need a name though.
Brachus.
One more time.
Brachus. Brachus. Brachus.
Okay. So you find Brachus by himself, sitting just outside of camp, just on the edge of camp. Seems to be just kind of looking out into the plains, eating some dried meat. And the four of you approach him, and he turns to you, Vasila, and says, "Little lady, I don't have a whole much more to tell you. You squeezed everything out."
Well, I am-
Instead, just gives Vasila a look.
well, I appreciate your tales by the fire yesterday, Brachus.
If you don't mind, we did have one question we wanted to ask you. There's some farmers off on the south side of town that have said they're having trouble with this big monster boar, and one of them said it was on fire and everything. I'm guessing that nod is like, I've heard this story before, and he's asked us to kind of help out with it, and we just wanted to make sure that Horn being a god of fire and all, if this turns out that it actually is a big boar that's on fire and we drive it off or kill it or something, we don't want to get in trouble for any kind of blasphemy or anything like that.
Horn isn't involved enough to take the time to create magical boars or anything along those lines. If you, in fact, find a boar on fire that's not being prepared for dinner, my guess is that would be the work of man.
Okay, just wanted to check. Thank you kindly.
Yeah, Horn's new to us.
And,
Seems
and
kind of nice.
as you start to walk away, he goes,
Mhm.
"But if it is a demon, I would run before taking sword to it."
Kind of look over at Osric and clap him on the back. Wouldn't be his first.
All right, so we're in the second quarter day.
Yep.
What's the plan?
The plan, he says.
Yeah. So what is how are we gonna track a fire boar? What if it's made of
Well,
fire like that fire that literally stood up, walked, and ate a dude?
then it'll be easy to follow, won't it?
Yeah. But what are we gonna do when we find it?
That's a very good question.
Points at Osric.
Something magical.
yeah.
Uh,
What I would suggest is at some point today, each of us try and get a little rest, because if we're going to be out at night, we don't want to be too tired.
do we need to sleep in the afternoon so that we can say we aren't sleepy tomorrow?
I think that's a great idea. You want to go ahead and do that for the second quarter day and take us to early
Take
evening?
us to get there for
Yeah.
early evening. and then-
Sure.
Nope.
Beautiful.
Stand the old man wants his
All-
afternoon nap. Check.
Aldrich would have had to have been back at the forge, so he's not going to get that rest. He's still working on helmets.
Got it. So let's head to the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Let's head south. So I'm imagining after some sleep and some rest, some healing, and we see the four of you.
Oh, but the one who actually took the strength damage did not take the healing because he
Correct.
stayed at the forge.
Correct. You
Is
head
what it is.
you head
is.
south, and I want to imagine kind of this dirt country road, and you've got the split fences to the left and to the right marking the farmlands, and we see you walk away, and we cut to commercial. So let's take a quick 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. right. Welcome back. So, following the directions of our friend, and if you remember, our friend Donai was the name of the gentleman who, as you come, you finally do find his farm and come to his step.
Does he have a giant broken rock?
He does not.
Okay, good to know.
And this is why he keeps getting pig attacks.
Clearly, yeah. I guess knock on his door.
So he is ecstatic to see you. Oh! You came! You came! This is wonderful.
Well, we said we would.
Woman, make a table for them. Bring them food, something. And he's kind of like trying to pick up the place and throwing things into a drawer and
You know, I
whatnot.
just discovered recently there's a word for that: scurry funging.
He is
When you're running around trying to.
He is
it
definitely
really
scurry
is.
funging. He is definitely scurry funging, and he seems a little embarrassed by the state of his. It was really not in that bad a shape.
I mean, it looks great compared to where I used to live. So.
Yeah. And he sits you down and insists on putting some of his homemade wine in front of you.
Well, we need to sip lightly as if we're going to be hunting tonight.
Right.
It's not because the
But
wine
it would
is
be
bad,
it would be rude
certainly.
to say no.
Mhm.
So I would.
Sure, I
not
mean
say
I'll
no.
taste some, but I mean I'm not
Yeah.
gonna chug.
It came last night.
Did it?
It did. It took a goat.
It's a shame to hear that.
Can we
show us-
see where the goat was
yeah.
taken?
I was gonna say, is there sign? Can we see? Can you take us to?
Yeah, of course. So he
Mhm.
waits for you to like finish up or whatever you're doing. If you guys are like stand up, so he takes you. He's got a huge acres of land, and it takes a little bit of time walking through some fields to an outskirt of where there's a bit of a forest. You can tell it's not a huge forest, like a small little glen maybe. And he says, this is where the goat was taken. And you look and you just see just singed. The ground is singed. The you can see it came. It looks like he says it came from here, and he points towards the forest, so you could see where this burned trail comes out of the forest, comes to where the goat was. He claims the goat was taken. You see some blood, and then it seems to go back into the forest.
Is the path the same width as the walking fireplace?
Seems larger.
Oh,
Oh, good.
oh my. Okay.
Well, if we're gonna do this, we should go see where it leads while there's still some light out.
Before we go, can we ask him if he has, I guess, any additional like specific information about the boar? Has he seen it take these goats?
He claims to have seen it from afar once.
Okay.
Claimed that it was from shoulder to hoof, taller than a man. And its fur just burned.
Okay.
Like
he
raging
was a
inferno or
good-
cinders.
No, like flames coming off the fur. And he also explains he's a good 150 yards away from the thing, right? So he's never seen it up close, but describes these huge tusks and
Does it like goat? Maybe we could bait it with a goat if you'd be willing to sacrifice a fledgling.
Well,
for this endeavor.
let's see if we can follow the trail first. Let's not kill any more of the poor man's livestock first if we can help it.
so there's trail from and trail to, right? So you're standing here where he claims the goat was taken, and to be clear, he found this in the morning, right? Are we headed to where he thinks it went?
Well, it
or
should have
where
a
it
trail
came
away,
from?
yeah.
Yeah, I think the trail away is more likely to be helpful.
I'm gonna presume that Sten can use some sort of huntery knowledge to figure out better which way is from and which way is to.
It's pretty obvious. I mean, Vasila can figure that out. So you follow the trail. It takes you into the woods, and I'm not sure what you expected, but you don't go far into the glen. In fact, where you end up as you follow this gouged, burnt earth, you can still see the land, right? You can still see the farm from there. So you're not deep into this glen by any stretch of the imagination. And the trail of scorched earth ends to just a bloodbath against the trees, bones picked clean, and just an absolute gore feast has occurred here.
And there's no further path beyond that.
The path
Well,
ends there.
The fiery path does. Is there any track that looks like maybe a normal boar? Because Sten's hunted boar before.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you roll for that. It doesn't appear so.
Okay.
I got
Okay.
I'll bring in.
Look at Aldrich.
Yeah, I'll bring in my particular set of talents and start kind of any sense of magic or anything left over, or is it just kind of?
I think I need a roll.
Okay.
The question is, what are we going to roll? Because normally, if it was, last night, you would not need to roll for this, right? Your sense magic.
It was last night, right?
Or if you were there last
we were
night.
there.
Oh,
last night.
right. Yeah.
But
yeah,
hours have passed at this point, so we're looking for some sort of residue.
I guess. Hold on, let me look at good old sense magic. 'Cause I think I can roll on it. Yeah, I could spend the willpower for it.
I'll give it to you if you'll spend the willpower.
Yeah, sure. I'll
Okay.
basically I'll safe cast it and spend the willpower.
Perfect.
That way, I'm just kind of I'm kind of just honing in, just like eyes closed, taking in the area.
You taste charcoal,
Mhm.
and it's wet. Yeah. There's magic involved here. And for it to have happened hours ago, for that taste to be as pungent in your mouth as it is, it's powerful magic.
I wonder if we shouldn't find the source as well. There's still a lot of energy here.
I was thinking that as well, that we'd go back the other way to
Mm.
see where it came from.
My thoughts exactly. And
It's a flying demon boar. This is terrible.
flying don't make no difference when you got a good bow. Yeah, so I guess we'll go back to where the goat was snatched, and I'm assuming he's still there. He's not coming with us into the woods.
He had no interest in going with you.
That's kind of what I thought.
Understandable.
But I mean, if he's
Just for
still
clarity.
there, yeah, I would ask: has it always been this part of your land where the thing's been, or has it been in different places?
I feel like it always comes from the glen, but it'll strike at different places. When it took one of my cows, it came much closer to the house. In fact, the goat shouldn't have even been out here. It should have been brought back in, and I disciplined my son as a result for not counting the goats before going to bed.
All right, well, let's have a look at this glen then.
So you head back in the other direction, and really it's the breaking of branches and the direction of a lot of the grass that makes it clear what the where it came from and where it went,
Mhm.
right? And now that you found the end point where the feasting happened, you're headed towards wherever this thing came from. And unlike before, you go much deeper into the glen. In fact, I think it might even take close to an hour for you to work your way safely through this glen. And there's areas where decent sized trees got bowled over and broken, and places that just singed entire sides of some of the older trees.
I guess somewhere in the hour range is. I'm sure I'm gonna make sure that I've drawn my sword, just because I don't know how much further we're going to have to go, or whether or not it will sneak up upon us, and so on and
A
so
lot more
forth.
exciting if it sneak attacks you.
Mhm.
Well, and I'm sure it still will, but I'd like to at least be armed when it does.
And
Yeah.
it is starting to get dark. Multiplied by the canopy of the glen.
Mhm.
Aldrich's probably pulled out a lantern at this point if it's getting dark enough for it.
Before
Not
you light that, is there any? Sorry, before you light it, is there any like sign of fire or light anywhere in the woods that we can see?
No.
Okay.
So as it gets darker, Basilla's been kind of like singing little catches of a song to herself as she goes. Um, it's like prayerful, and as it gets darker, like it's louder. Like she's just a little bit more little more edgy to it. A little more like grab and hold. or
Fear
something.
singing, yeah.
Yep.
You follow it into what appears to be a clearing within the glen itself. And the clearing itself is not that large, maybe 50 or so yards in diameter. And the beginning of the trail ends in this glen. And where you see the trail starting, you see a large area of grass that's matted down. Right? It's just like something very heavy was laid here. And you also find pieces of burnt wood.
Like chopped logs.
Someone
Or
give me
like-
a survival roll.
I can do that.
Yep. One success is
10
all we need.
success. Yep.
So, Vasily, you pick up one of the pieces of charcoal wood and, hand it to Sten and ask him that question, right? And Sten, as best as you can tell, this is a burnt plank of wood, as opposed to a burnt branch.
Right. This is not like somebody made firewood. This is like from a building or a fence or something.
Yeah, it seems like worked wood, right?
I'm gonna wave it at Aldrich. Like, does this smell like magic? And like I like push it up on his
Mhm.
nose.
Well, it smells like burnt wood, but I'll just kind of take it from her.
Mhm.
It's like, don't you have to lick it?
Kind of give it a feel.
Yeah, no spend needed for this. The
Mhm.
same feeling you got from before. Not any stronger or weaker.
Okay.
So, and the you said the grass was matted down here, but not burnt.
No,
So the burn starts like on the way out of this clearing.
correct.
Is there
Wondering if
people
there isn't.
feet?
I was gonna say, are there
That
signs?
was my
that
question. Are there
someone-
any other
Yeah,
tracks?
I was literally about to say I feel like there's a human element to this.
Yeah.
This feels like a ritual.
Well, we're all thinking the same thing. Let's see. Is there any
It's gonna
sign of
be-
any
it's gonna
additional
be
tracks?
Romeo.
I need
Okay.
I need 2 successes on a survival roll.
Do you now?
I do.
All righty. Well, let's see if I can.
Can Can we in any way provide like some sort of assistance? Is that a thing we do in this game?
I'm trying
He
to remember
asks.
how assist works in this.
Me too.
Hold the light.
All the games colliding to a rule.
So many rules.
Here, let me see if I can just quickly.
Sorry,
let's
that
see,
one
there
dude
are
who
group
puts in the
roles.
comments that knows all the rules.
How does the group roles work?
That's
help
if
from
everybody's
others.
trying to do it. Yeah.
For each
Oh,
person
okay.
helping you, you get a +1 modification. No more than 3 people can help you with a single roll. So yeah, add 3 dice.
Cool.
All right, gang, let's split up.
Points.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Well,
Look at that. 2
2
successes.
successes, you say.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's man-sized tracks.
Okay.
And they seem to be kind of on the outskirts of this flattened area. As
Mhm.
best as you can tell, Sten, at least 2 people.
Okay.
Maybe more. You're not able, they seem to have come from the other side of the glen, but you
Mhm.
quickly lose track of it after that.
In terms of boar frequency for the farmer, was and I feel like we had this discussion. I'm sorry, I can't remember specifically the answer. Was it an every night thing? Was it an occasionally thing? Was it a
It was the way he described it was in spurts, right? So they
Okay.
it would attack for a night or 2, maybe 3 nights, and then there'd be nothing for a month, 2 months, and then it would come back again, and it wouldn't always attack his farm.
Right.
Though
Right.
in the last year and a half, he's lost 5 or 6, livestock to this thing. But all told, this thing is racking up, 20 some odd livestock.
Well, I see 2 things. Can either head in that direction where these tracks were going and see what's there, or we can try and lay an ambush here in case these folk come back tonight.
So, what direction roughly do the tracks head back out?
So this trail took you south. So this glen was south of the farm, and it continues south beyond there.
And we have no idea what's
and
down
so
there.
south would be, I guess, from our perspective, away from
Amber's Peak.
quote unquote
Away from Embers Peak,
civilization.
away from all the lands we know.
Correct.
Okay.
Interesting.
And it would take you back into the glen, right? So this is a clearing that seems
Mhm.
to be, within the glen itself. And
Mhm.
and I'll tell you right now, Sten, because I don't think you would hesitate as soon as you found some of these tracks
Mhm.
to kind of continue through. And by the time you hit back at the edge of the glen again,
Mhm.
you've lost them.
Could be anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of tracking them so much as just going more or less in that direction, but that may not be viable. Well, if they always seem to come from this area, which seems to be what he thinks, maybe we just hide ourselves a little bit and wait.
Do you want to do a stakeout?
It seems to me that stopping the human and not the boar is a better choice.
Yeah.
If it is, I mean, if you've seen it from a distance, it may be,
It's,
humans in a Trojan boar.
Humans is something I can deal with.
Never mind. It's an old story. Yeah. So let's try and set up some kind of little hunting hide.
All right. So talk to me what that looks like real quick.
Well, I mean, Sten would be perfectly happy to climb a tree, but I don't think that's everybody's best bet. So maybe just a little ways off from the clearing, like a tree or 2 back, set up some kind of little lean-to screened with, leaves and vines and things, sort of opposite where the tracks have generally been coming from. And just something where we can see and hear in the clearing without being obvious from within there.
Are we
All right,
making
so-
2 or 1? Like, are all 4 of us going to spring out of the same trap, or are we going to have separate areas?
I'd kind of like us to be close so we can at least whisper to each other so we all go at the same time. But
Yeah, that's fair.
You're the huntsman.
you're
Whatever.
damn right.
All right. So Let's do a survival roll for this, for the quality of the camouflage.
Yeah, alrighty.
So how hard
sounds
it is
good.
to see this thing.
Survival. There you are. And is this something else that we could get the group roll bonus on?
I think I want you to do this on your own, Stan.
Okay.
I think this is a little bit more specialized.
That seems reasonable.
Okay.
Hmm.
Don't do it.
Do it.
Yeah, I think I oughta.
What do you think? The fire boar is going to hit you on your wits?
Probably.
Yes, yes, I do actually.
Coward.
He's terrifying.
How many? What's
well,
your
I'm
wits?
I'm at 4, so I'm at 2 now.
Okay.
A little tired, but I got it.
Well, frustrated.
Yeah.
As you built the thing and it all fell to pieces because Vasilla leaned on it and he had to build it all again.
Why do you think
You know why you?
It's Osric's the large one.
But
And
Osric
yeah.
actually has some points in survival. Just to
So do
say.
I.
It definitely wasn't Ostrich that caused the
No,
frustration.
no, clearly.
What you
So-
doing there? What's that leave for? Is that
I
stick
need
okay?
A primary
stick?
lookout, and you can get assists. So we're going to need a scouting roll, but you're
I can
going
do
to
that.
add +3 dice to this.
Sounds like
Um,
my job.
Yeah. It's either I got sent away to do it, so I stop annoying him, or you do it.
That's
Right, exactly.
How many dice do you have on scouting right now?
I have 1 skill and it's wits,
Wits, yep.
so it's 5
Okay.
plus 3.
I've got-
so it'd be 8.
Okay, I've got 6 plus 3, so
That's better.
Sounds
for
like you.
Let's roll 9 dice.
modifier 3. Roll it. And yet. Let's go for it. Drama. Oof, there we are.
1, 2.
2, okay.
Mwahaha.
All right. Ooh, and 2 to your wits. Ouch.
Mhm.
Okay.
We'll laugh when we take more damage from setting up the ambush than the actual.
Yep.
It is the way of Forbidden Lands.
Sorry. Replying to the new person that just chatted.
Yes.
So night falls. There's a noise here, a noise there. I'm imagining Sten is on edge and whips his head
Mhm.
around at every twig
Well,
branch. And
my thought is that actually he recognizes kind of normal sounds and they
Oh,
don't
good.
bother him.
I like that.
And, he probably, might see one of the others do it, and he's just like, settle.
That what is Vasilla. She is
Yes.
concerned.
What was that? That's an owl.
So Aldrich as the one that led the roll,
Mhm.
right, and led the scouting. Enough time has passed that there's a certain degree of relaxation that's happening. Starts real tense, right? Especially once the sun finally sets, and it's coming from what is basically behind, and you hear it, and it's a
I will focus in and try to find the source. Is it directly behind me?
So as you turn your head about 20 yards through the trees, through the darkness, anybody could see it because it's looks like something's on fire. So if the situation was different, if you were just camping one night, you would think a part of the forest has to be on fire. And you can clearly hear the
This is when I start tapping Sten and Ostrich and eventually Vasilla.
Okay.
Just
Now-
kinda doing that.
when you said it was behind us, Craig, is that like so we're between it and the clearing kind of thing?
Correct.
That's a problem.
That's fine.
And we don't hear any sounds of human activity or anything in the clearing proper at this point.
No, but Sten, once you're brought it to your attention and you look at
Mhm.
this thing, you can see it moving.
Mm-hmm.
You see it heading towards the clearing,
Mm-hmm.
methodically, slow, right? So it's,
Okay.
and listening, you hear crunching, and whatever it is walking.
Okay. Is it heading? Is it going to go straight past us at this
Looks
rate?
like it will, right? Based on the direction it's going, it's not going to come to where you are.
Okay, but it's going to be close.
Wait, did you say not or it is? I'm sorry, I thought you said yes, and then you
So
said
it's not
not.
walking towards you. It
Mhm.
looks like it's going to walk past you, maybe get
Okay.
within 15, 20 yards.
Okay. Then I'm just going to try and get everybody to lay low, have the bow ready, and see what happens when it gets to the clearing.
You're watching. And it isn't in slow motion, but God, it feels like it's slow motion. And it gets a good 15 yards away, and it's difficult. The glen is there's a good number of trees, but this is now lit to the point where the forest is lit. All you have are the flickering shadows of just a huge bonfire, right, effect happening. And trying to be inconspicuous, but also trying to see. The descriptions seem pretty accurate. From shoulder to foot, this thing is at least 6 foot. And it does look like a boar. It does have tusks. It has a jet black fur. And maybe the best way to describe it is someone put a blanket of fire on top of it. So from its shoulders to its hind, going down the legs, but not touching the head. It's like someone took a blanket, set it on fire, and laid it on top of it. So you don't get a sense that it's burning, but there's fire coming off of it. And though the head doesn't appear to be on fire, there's burning yellow coals and fire coming from its eyes. And it stops. And you see it turning its head.
Do I recognize that sound from regular boars?
Smells like it's smelling.
They're really good at that.
Yep.
And you see its head go down to the ground. And it turns, and I don't know if it sees you, but it's looking in your way.
Okay.
And it starts charging.
Then I shoot as soon as it moves. as soon as it doesn't turn away, I'm going to take that shot.
All right, so we're going to do it a -2 modifier.
Oof. Okay.
And
Right.
that's going to be the trees.
Sure, fair enough. All right, longbow. I'm at -2 there. I will take my sharpshooter bonus. Do I have anything else here that is relevant?
I mean, if you miss the giant boar, I'm going to be disappointed.
I mean, sure. Well, let's see what happens. I did not miss the giant boar. I'm not inclined to push this just yet.
I'd like you to keep your bow.
Yes, that's kind of where I
Just gonna
am.
if I get a
seems
vote.
seems relevant at this time.
I don't have time to fix that too right now.
Well, I understand this is not a democracy.
Yeah, no, it's a valid point. Yeah, so it's a minor shot, but it's a shot.
Okay. You had the bow ready.
Mhm.
You had it taut, and when this thing just starts bowling through, and
Mhm.
vegetation is just breaking, and as
Mhm.
soon as you have the clear shot you have without the thing being right on top of you, let loose, and you see the arrow fly. You see it hit its hide. It does not seem to react to it, but you did hit it.
Okay. So to metagame for a moment, do I think that is representative of armor at some level?
No,
Okay.
no.
Just tough.
Yeah, so the arrow didn't bounce off of it or anything.
Okay.
The arrow, you see the arrow went into the fire.
Got it. Okay.
Excellent.
Well, while I'm at it, I do now have the 3 levels of fast shooter, so I'm gonna take a second shot if I can.
Okay, and mechanically, how does that work?
It's just I can shoot as a fast action.
Great. So your fast action will be shooting again. Let's do it.
Yep. Alrighty.
-1 this time. It's a little bit closer.
Oh, good. It's closer, you say. Excellent.
That's a good thing.
All right, so that modifier cancels that out. Okay.
Ooh.
That's better.
Much better. Much better. So a total of 3 damage.
Hmm. I think so. I'm trying to find if the bow has any built-in damage other than just the successes.
I think it's
I think
damage
so.
is
That's the
damage
one
is
for-
1.
The one
Right, yes, the
success
first
gives
success gives you the
first
1, and then,
damage.
yep.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Everything else is bonuses. All right, cool.
Uh-oh.
It does have armor. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, that's what
Everybody's
I
going to
got.
get 1 fast and slow action before this thing reaches you.
I'm gonna test my arrows.
Going
See if I
to
lose any.
slow is I'm going to move away from the group so that we don't all get run over by the boar.
Same, honestly.
So Vasilla and Aldrich are running in the other direction.
Is it
Great.
the
So
opposite
I'm
direction
standing
or, like,
here.
out?
I don't want to get too far, but I'm getting enough distance where if it's gonna engage Sten, I want to be kind of off to the side because I do have
Okay.
a plan beyond that.
Vasilla, same thing.
Yeah, and then I'll save my fast action for like a dodge if I need to or something.
Yeah, that's fine. If you guys, you both can reserve your fast action, just use your slow action. I'm fine with that. Osric,
Actually,
you see the
hold on.
2 arrows. Oh, go ahead, Aldrich.
Is with the boar having moved, is it within short range?
Yes.
Okay, so actually instead of moving with my slow, I'm actually going to use and I'm actually going to spend the willpower for sense magic because the fire cloak seems different. I want to know if I feel something like a separate force there compared to the boar itself.
The magic from everywhere.
Okay.
Right, from inside this thing, from outside of this thing, from everything that's
also
being
have the
lit on
fiery eyes,
fire
right?
by this thing, and
Okay.
it's not the old charcoal taste that you had before. It's
Hot ghost pepper hot.
yeah, well, no, like hot
It's
soup,
on
right?
fire.
Yeah, like you drank a
It's
huge
campfire.
okay.
Okay.
spoonful of just scalding soup, and it just burns a little bit, a feeling of burning inside of
Gotcha.
inside of your cheeks.
I hate that feeling so much.
Osric,
So
Ostrich is gonna wring his hands and make his move towards the boar,
okay.
and I don't think
I believe in you, big guy.
I don't think I can swing with a fast action yet. So I'm gonna hold my fast action if I don't
save it for a dodge.
reach the
Break a
boar.
block or whatever.
So you'll with 1 action, fast or slow, right? Using your slow as a fast, however you want to do it, you can get engaged with this thing. It's
Wait.
moving.
Can I can use a fast to move. Is that correct?
Correct.
Mhm.
And don't you
then
have
slow to
charge?
hit it?
I do have charge, don't I?
Hey, there you go.
I do. I have charge. I'm gonna charge the boar.
You're built for this.
Right. So you'll maintain your fast action, and then you'll use your
Uh,
slow
Then
action
you
to
use-
move,
when you
and attack.
from
Right.
near to arm's length. It's the same action. You can slash, stab, blah blah blah, and I get a +1.
All right. Let's do it.
I have rank 2.
I've seen the show where giant boar charges guy charging at him.
I'm sure it's
I
fine.
don't want to know the answer yet, do I?
It's all illusion.
So this
if
boar
I
is
click
charging.
on
Sten
here-
is quickly let 2 arrows in. It's hit this thing. Osric pops out from this lean-to camouflage
Wait, before I do this,
hunting
let's do
tent you
do
made.
gear.
Comes charging out with Rustbite ready.
And we'll eventually figure out how to make this all work. Melee charge, sword fighter, and the inevitable question of whether or not it is actually a demon.
I guess we'll find out.
Rustbite
it's a
as
you get the
weapon
you get the bonus
changes the
die.
artifact die based
Ooh.
on whether or not it's a demon.
It is,
And
or
a-
it's giving the effect of. For as
It's
far as
Great.
Rustbite is concerned.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. Giant question mark.
It caught closer. Good. It's a demon. Good.
all right. And here goes nothing.
You know how to build up anticipation. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
for
sure. So you go into slash.
Oh, I don't like that pain on Rustbite.
No, I would not. I would not risk that at
I
this
think
time.
we're gonna stick with that good old 1 success for 2 damage.
Okay, you make contact, right? So this thing comes. The 2 arrows come and it causes the boar to kind of veer away a little bit. So it's reacting to Sten's firing. Unfortunately, that means it's coming straight at you. And you charge like a crazy person and just this is the breaking sound, and the silence of the forest is now just covered in your scream as you take Rustbite and you come down with this thing, and it comes and it hits into the shoulder. You can see blood, like red normal blood, as it cuts into the shoulder of this thing, and it kind of veers away from it. We need to roll for initiative.
Yep.
Cool.
So let me move us over very quickly.
Is what a D10, right?
And then you'll get a button here in a second.
Oh, okay. Heard this story before.
Supposedly. Did I get a button?
So I click to roll the little red die symbol,
Ah, look at that.
presumably.
Cool.
I'm not seeing.
It's up on your card at the top.
Yeah, so if you
See the red die by your picture?
So if you change to the combat section, right, 1 over from, it's got the little cross swords in the upper right.
Oh, that's the problem.
No, it's actually on the map page.
There, oh wow.
Oh,
It's
is it?
also on the map. Yep, in the upper left where it has
Yeah,
the
you've
little-
got the row of the
tracker.
R4
It sure
cards.
enough was.
Yep.
All
I'm not
right,
seeing the
so-
cards.
Oh, you're not? That's odd.
It is
Huh.
odd.
Zoom out, maybe? No, it's actually.
No, it should
It's
be.
not attached
Do you
to the
have?
Zoom.
God, that is weird. I'm not sure why you wouldn't see it.
Do you
That's
see
all right.
where it says Amber's Peak exterior?
Yeah,
It should be right there.
it's not.
Alright, oh well.
It's fine. Just
You
let me
and
know
your
when it's
should
my
be.
turn.
Well, and it should all still be in if you go to that little cross swords tab on the right.
Yeah, I see. I
Right.
see that. Okay, I can look at it there.
Yeah, all right, cool.
You just have to kind of flip back and forth between that and the roll.
All right. Oh crap!
You just.
I think
Move
you
this
just killed
away.
the encounter.
Are you kidding me?
Yay, we win!
I'm all over the place.
Easiest fight ever.
All right. So we've got 3 slots, the boar, and then 1 slot. Because you guys right now can exchange these. Do we want to exchange these at all?
Let me go first.
Yep, Vasilla goes first. I'm good going last, honestly.
I think
I have a separate
I'll,
mission.
I think Osric and I should probably go before it does if we can.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to switch Aldrich and Vasilla.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then Aldrich and Osric.
There we go. Yeah.
Aldrich is going to be last.
It's Aldrich, Vasilla, and Osric. Aldrich, Vasilla, and Osric kind of shuffle.
So give me the order. It's going to be Vasilla first, then second.
Then Osric, then Sten.
Oh, I was gonna let Sten go. Sten
Okay,
can have his
whichever you
cute
want.
slot.
Whichever you want, man.
So Sten, then Osric,
So
and then
Vasilla,
Aldrich
Sten,
last.
Osric.
Is that
Yep.
right?
That's where we're at.
Correct.
Beautiful.
Ready to go?
Almost. All right, I've got Vasilla, Sten, and then Osric.
Yep, looks good.
All right, so let's start with Vasilla.
All right, so Vasilla is going to let out a shout. Remember the tale of brave Owain. He fought fearlessly against the demons. Strike true. And you do remember when I have sang the tale of Sir Owain many times and have brought you to like a proud noble baron. So I'm going to spend 3 willpower
Whoa!
to give you +3 dice on the round for attacking it.
That sounds real good.
So mechanically, for those at home, it is the Path of the War Cry. Rank 1. I emit a war cry that grants all your comrades within short range a bonus to all attack rolls during 1 round until it's my turn to act again in the next round. The rolls are modified by
Sweet.
+1 for every willpower I spend.
Very
I
nice.
like
How much
it.
willpower does that leave you?
6.
Oh, you've been stocking up.
That's why I could spend 3.
All right, so you let out this just inspiring cry out there. How about a fast action?
Fast action, I'm going to continue to hold for jumping out of the way if the boy decides that he wants to eat tasty little halflings.
All right, great. Sten.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm assuming I've got this thing's big enough that I can shoot it without being at too much risk of hitting Osric.
Oh, no question.
So I'm going to do that.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
So this will be a +3 -1, so a +2 total.
right, and it's
I do like
actually
that there
going to
was
be a
that
net of
moment where it
+3
was,
because
he
I have
was
my
doing the
sharpshooter.
math. It's like,
Yep.
it's not too much of a risk of hitting
Right.
Osric.
Yeah.
Not
Be
to say no
fine.
risk.
It'll be fine.
Right. Exactly. All right. First shot. Yeah. Meh.
Yikes.
Well, I mean, I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to push that.
You're not going to take the 3 damage to your agility?
Yeah, not right now.
All
Not
right, so
this time.
total of 1 damage.
Yep. Boo.
Yeah, it was
So this does appear to just come off of its hide.
Okay.
So whether it's where you hit it along its side, more in the area that's on fire, but you can tell that your
It
arrow
did
did not
no shit.
penetrate this
Yep.
boar.
Okay.
And you have to spend a willpower to do the second shot. How does that work?
Nope. That's just a thing I know how to do.
Damn.
So I'm gonna do it.
There it is.
Slightly
great.
better. I will, however, spend a willpower on this one to ignore armor.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Since I just recently learned how to do that, and I'm gonna go buy that Quad Archer a beer.
Can we make it out of this?
All right, so this does hit, and so you've now stuck this pig twice or 3 times.
3 times.
Osric, you swung, you've cut this thing. What are we doing now?
I think we're gonna try to swing again.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
I think he's.
Remember, this will be at the +3.
Oh, good to mention. I would have forgotten.
Thanks to Vasilla.
Yeah. All that prep work.
I knew we
did
kept her
every
around
night
here for
telling
a
you all
reason.
these tales.
Those count as they're not gear, right?
I think they're just
They're
modified.
melee
If,
dice,
Yeah, just go
right?
to the mod. There should be modifier. It should
Got it.
allow
yeah,
you
if
to
you
just do
click on the
+3.
combat
Right.
tab, yeah.
Oh, I see. Sorry. It's not where they go. 30 is not the right answer either, right?
No, I think that's definitely it.
Smush.
All right, and I still get sword fighter, but I no longer get melee charge. And I'm
Correct.
still getting the D10, not the D8.
Correct.
sold.
So many dice.
Oof.
And yet only one of them is a
And
success.
yet-
Come
only
on,
one.
boys.
And that looks like 3 Banes, and those are both on respite. So no, obviously not going to push that
No.
guy.
Yeah, they're both on respite. So yeah.
So
God.
Yeah,
I
don't do
think
that.
he's taking another swing, and it's sort of glancing off things and this and that and the other. He's hit tusk and not meat.
Yeah, but you still affect it. So it's just the first slash that's caused it to stop in its tracks when you hit it before. And then your second slash has caused it to move back just a little bit. Still engaged with you, but now it is square on you, Osric.
Great.
Pig time.
Bite. And it goes for you. And it immediately, you just see it lunging. Its mouth opens up, and inside Osric is just light comes out, just fire flaming, like there's a bonfire inside of its mouth, and its huge tusk just opens up, and it just.
So it's definitely not just the flaming cloak laid on top.
Definitely
no.
not.
Between the eyes and the inside of this mouth, it appears that my description of a blanket of fire is just a description of a blanket of fire.
Huh?
So can
We
I
need some
parry
Tums.
a bite attack?
No, but you can dodge.
No, thank you. But I will use my armor.
Okay, let's roll your armor.
Is that?
Do you have a shield as well?
I do not yet have a shield.
Hmm.
It is a
Get
thing
this
that
man a shield.
I have
Future
considered.
time shields.
And I just click on the studded leather, right? And there's no base dice. There's no skill dice. So we'll just roll those. Awesome.
All right, so this is going to be three damage. 2 damage base for the 1 success plus an additional damage. This will
Oof.
be to your strength. So it clamps down and kind of captures your upper torso, not your sword arm, right? So kind of on your left side, and it's kind of, it doesn't get a chance to really crush on you, but you kind of like fall and get pushed to the side into a tree as this thing kind of just goes and just kind of crashes you into a tree. Where's your strength right now?
My strength is at 2 of 5.
Okay.
Oof.
Aldrich.
Oh boy, oh boy. So what Aldrich's doing
Lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt.
again? I wish. That's not Aldrich.
Something much more symbolic.
Yeah.
So Aldrich's gonna kind of probably use most of his probably both of his actions moving. I'm kind of moving around. I'm trying to see, because again, we had human footprints from the source of the boar the last time. I'm trying to move past this thing to see if there's any human interaction. So at the very least, I'm basically moving as fast as I can past and beyond it from where it came from.
All of this is happening simultaneous, right? So
Right.
so you have Vasilla with her war cry that just inspires all of you. You have Sten just letting loose 2 arrows as this thing comes chomping in on Osric, who's been trying to hit it with Rustbite. The chaos of all of that, you, Aldrich, are kind of sidestepping away, trying to work through the chaos, through the trees, and it seems like every branch that could hit you in the face is hitting you in the face. Is just this chaotic, and it's just tripping and trying to make sure you're keeping an eye on things while moving forward. And you're kind of looking around. The only thing that you see coming from where this thing was just moments ago is that scorched, burnt earth and vegetation.
Okay, so I don't see anything where
You
it
don't
came
seem
from.
to see anything or anybody.
Okay.
And I'll count that as a fast action if you want to still do a slow.
Okay. I guess I'll kind of prep for next turn then, since I don't see any obvious people anywhere nearby. I'm actually gonna reach into and I feel like at this point I hear Osric take the bite, and I turn around and see that and look back to where the boar came from, see nobody, pause for a second, and then I reach into my pack and I grab the scepter out.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
All right, so we are back at the top. You do have a chance to exchange. I assume we don't want Vasilla going first this time. Is that correct?
Agreed.
That seems fair.
So I'm going to
You
put her
guys
last.
wasted
gonna
my
slide up
gifts.
I can say we can either slide everyone up, or we can just straight trade.
Well, yeah, because I'm thinking if the scepter's going to do something, maybe we do that first before we have to. I mean, it's up to you.
I'm okay with that. I'm ready for it. So
Sure.
All right.
Okay, so we'll just hard pass, switch Aldrich and Vasilla.
Yep.
All right, so I've got Aldrich, Sten, Osric.
Works for me.
Does that sound right?
Yep.
All right, Aldrich.
all right.
What
so
are we
we're
doing?
Earthquake with a power level of D6 plus 2.
Earthquake.
Yep. I'm basically I pull the scepter out and I just kind of slam it down on the ground, focused towards the boar.
It
Okay.
will not break. It
So
broke.
first, do we need to roll the power level?
I need to roll a D6, yeah. Which is there a way I can just roll a D6?
You should be able to hit the little. Where see where it
There we
says,
are.
yep, the little die there at the very bottom on the tray,
I guess that works too.
or maybe it
Maybe?
doesn't.
I've got a roll option on my character.
There is a
sheet.
roll on your sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eight power level.
All right. So what
Osric?
what does this mean then? What's an 8 power level mean on this scepter?
8 damage.
Oh,
As
really?
I just basically bash into the ground and the earth rises up around this boar and just like earth spikes and the whole forest starts to quake.
Dude.
So 7 damage.
Uh-huh.
It has just slammed Osric into this tree, and you just see Osric just get slammed into the tree. You could see some of the blood coming off of his shoulder, where this thing, it tore into him. You see Sten, after loosing 2 arrows, automatically pulling out his next arrow and pulling it back.
Mhm.
And Aldrich reaches into his pack, grabs this scepter, lifts it up, and just slams it to the ground. And it's almost like he threw a stone into a pond. And it seems like the ground waves as if it's liquefied. And but it doesn't go in concentric circles. It goes like a cone directly towards this boar, just bypassing Osric. And the boar is lifted off of its feet, and it gets slammed into this huge oak tree that's almost the same breadth and width of this boar. And as the boar hits the big tree, it's like you took a handful of burning coals and threw it at this tree, because as soon as it hits the tree, it cinders, and just you see cinders flying off of the tree, and it takes a moment until you actually realize that this thing is vaporized as it slams into this tree, and the tree starts on fire, and immediately, as if you hit it with a flamethrower, right? And as you're standing on the ground, feeling the power of this thing as it left your hand and looking up, all you're really seeing right now is just this huge oak tree is on fire, and you're seeing cinders like coming off of a bonfire just spreading around the forest.
God, what was that?
I just kind of look at it, drop to the ground for a second, and I think thematically I'm going to go ahead and take the wits and agility damage that the scepter causes at the end of a quarter day and just kind of I need to learn some of that kind of magic.
Well, if it looks like the boar is gone, I guess I'll run over to see how Osric's doing.
So Osric's been in better shape, but the wounds seemed like with a little bit of attention, they'll be taken care of, right?
Right.
Mechanically, no critical injury.
Sure.
He's pretty shook though. So Osric,
I'm pretty shook.
you're pretty rattled.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you got slammed into this tree, but you also saw what Aldrich just did.
And I could imagine that I was, in fact, close enough just to get a little shaken off by it as well.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I think it takes a half second as your minds kind of shift, right? As your minds change scenes from holy shit, we're getting attacked by this boar, and
wait.
Osric just got thrown into the tree. And I want to say that the first person that kind of gets their wits about them and starts to, like, the adrenaline comes off, it might be you, Vasilla. You're in a burning forest right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
there's
it's
that.
spreading, and it's spreading fast.
Don't suppose you know how to put that out then, do you, Aldrich? Aldrich?
No.
So
It's going to surround you soon.
so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah,
It's
I'm just gonna start-
unnaturally spreading.
Yeah,
Ooh. Okay.
going to run.
Yeah, I feel like Sten has probably been near a forest fire, if not in one.
Do we feel like the clearing would offer any level of protection, or do we think we should go?
There's less trees.
There are less trees, so
That's a plus.
Aldrich kind of wondering. So you said it's spreading unnaturally, right? I assume it still tastes of magic, essentially, since it is.
Yes, slightly
demon
lesser,
fire.
right? But more, but less concentrated. That's the better way to put it. So it seems everywhere, less concentrated, maybe the same amount of magic.
Okay. I think before it gets too bad, even though I mean it's obviously probably pretty bad at this point, Aldrich would probably try to pump everything into a dispel magic to see if he could like contain it back. Because he's already like, well, I spread the magic. Maybe I can tamp it down.
Okay.
Okay.
How much willpower do we want to put into it?
I'm gonna put everything into it.
Oof,
This is
jeez,
this is-
okay.
This is like a panic moment, and this is a demon, so I'm willing to dump all 8 into it.
Damn.
Okay, you realize you're gonna roll
you have to roll 8 dice for that.
I-
magic,
7
I-
dice, right? Because of your talent.
Yeah, I can put it down to safe casting,
Oh,
so I can put
sure.
it down to 7.
That's a lot of.
Oof.
That's a lot of
Oof.
magical mishap chances.
I feel like
Again, this is like panic moment.
sure,
Yeah,
I get it. I get it.
How do I? It's not letting me add my willpower. What am I doing wrong?
All right, so let's take a look here. Don't touch your sheet. I'm going to open it.
Okay.
All right, so you're going to.
I added the safe casting, but it's not letting me actually
All right, hold on a
change the
second.
willpower element.
You're doing dispel magic, rank
Yeah.
2.
Yep.
And safe casting.
Oh, actually, I can't safe cast because it's rank 2, and I'm a rank 2 wizard. So
Oh,
I'm gonna be rolling 8
Ah.
dice.
yeah.
Oh boy.
What am I doing wrong? Oh, there we go. I had to right click it. There we are.
Got
I
it.
figured it out. Yep, there we are. Oh no. Well, that was bound to happen.
So before I rolled a mishap,
Jesus.
Wow.
I want to know because this is the first time this has happened, I think, right? This is the first time you've cast this spell.
No, because I did
I
it
think
to
you
the
tried it in the-
transforming guy,
Yeah.
Okay.
and it failed then too. Well, I
What-
mishapped on it then
No,
too.
you succeed. You got to remember in this
Yeah.
system, when you cast
yeah.
a spell, you cast a spell,
Mhm.
right? So that's
But-
done. You've cast a
Just
power
the
level
price.
8 of dispel
I
magic.
have a bad history with dispel magic.
And to give you an idea, I already knew the power level of what created this thing,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yep.
And we'll talk in a minute whether this was enough or not.
Mm.
But I what I want to understand, before this mishap gets rolled, I want to understand the scene, right? So what happens? So Aldrich, you see the fire and you see it almost smart, right? Like
Yeah.
it seems to want to get more. It's not just randomly just cinders going somewhere. It's directed, and it's wanting to surround you.
Yeah.
So what is
Aldrich's-
Aldrich doing right now?
Aldrich has emotions right now because everything like pulling out the scepter and blasting the boar with an earthquake, that was just like put my friend down. And that is continuing. This demon is continuing to hunt. So this is just nope, I am drawing. I feel like a powerful sorcerer right now. And he's kind of got this like god complex mode going on where I'm like, nope, I have all of this power and you are getting it. You are going to stop. My will is greater than yours.
Going full Thanos.
Yeah, I'm going a little Aldrich's developing a bit of an ego.
I wonder what will happen.
Aldrich, your hands go out,
Mhm.
and everybody's watching this. And I think everybody, as soon as they see your reaction to this, is sensing, oh shit, like this ain't over. Right? And Aldrich knows. And your hands go out, and we see a glow start to come off of your hands. And it's kind of what color would it be?
Kind of like a crimson red.
So kind of this crimson glow starts coming off of his hands, and it seems to jump spark down his arm, his forearm, as it gets bigger and gets brighter coming off of his hands. And just as you see Aldrich close his eyes and just make a face that you may have never seen him make before, is when the flames start to move and start to jump into his hands. And it's almost like it's magnetic. And we just see fire getting swooshed and pushed into Aldrich as he's just taking it in, and it's pulling into his hands. And then all of a sudden he just opens his mouth and his eyes, and we see fire just start to go into his mouth and into his eyes. And it just all starts coming in, and the crimson just spreads all over his body. And you're trying to take this all in, the three of you watching. Aldrich, you don't know what the fuck's going on. The three of you are all trying to watch this, and it's registering, and you're realizing that, like, fuck, the force is not on fire anymore. And you realize that he has sucked it all into him. His elbows reach the side of his ribs. And he falls backwards to the ground. And you see smoke just lifting off of his body. But you can't see him. He's in the grass and in the foliage.
Mhm. Sten starts
We're gonna have to go check on him,
very
right?
carefully stalking over like there's a dangerous animal in the woods and he doesn't know what it is. And he's got the bow kind of in his hand still.
As you're
Starting to
getting
get
closer,
near.
Sten, the glow, that crimson glow, starts to dissipate. What doesn't really dissipate is the smoke that seems to be coming off of Aldrich. When you get there, he's laying there. His eyes are open. What are Aldrich's first words?
Oh, thank goodness he hasn't just poofed.
Yeah.
He gets words.
Heat. Fire. So hot.
And the feeling you have, Aldrich, is empty. Like you're hollow. Like you haven't eaten for days. Your stomach feels like it's been shrunk. And any energy, like, is pure exhaustion. On your character sheet, mark yourself hungry.
I feel like that's a fair trade.
Well, there's much worse things.
Oh,
to roll on
yes.
than-
Yes, there are. Well, hearing the so hot things, Den's first reaction would probably be just like to take his water skin and just kind of sort of drench / squirt him to try and cool him down.
And what's odd about that, Sten, is you expected to hear a tss, right?
Mhm.
Because of the smoke. And it just splashes on him. And then the smoke just dissipates. So his body wasn't hot.
Although I think if you do have a water skin out and you're pouring on him, Aldrich would like reach up and grab it and like
Yeah.
start.
Sure, I will
drinking.
certainly let him.
All
Like
right. So
after he
Uh-huh.
go ahead.
after he's had that kind of moment of just like that breaking point, and then just the water kind of wakes him up. And then like he goes into his bag and he's just like desperately trying to find something to eat.
That's the only thing you care about right now. It's the only thing you know is that I need energy. I need to take shit in. That's not fire. So I need two things. One, I need Sten to do a water roll for me, and I need Aldrich to do a food roll for me.
I think even thematically, I could just spend a food die,
No.
honestly.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
should
mean,
roll
I
it.
was
I'll
kind
roll
of
it?
thinking the
Okay.
same thing. I would voluntarily empty the water.
Okay.
skin on him.
So you guys are both good on that. So you didn't roll a 1 or a 2. So you didn't lose a die. And we just now see Aldrich like a kid with cake, just into his bag, just stuffing food into his mouth.
Yep. Mostly like anything like carbs. Like I'm like downing a loaf of bread essentially that I've got packed away. Like, yeah, just no talking, just sitting, just eating.
What
and
is
then the water is just to get it down faster.
What's Vasilla doing?
So during the whole like forest on fire thing, she was like making her way out back to the forest. So she's like, I think she's just like she's going to take a couple steps back, and she's just going to like sit down on a log and just like watch that, just like zoned out.
And I think the excitement of all of it, Vasilla, might be why you're startled. As you hear a voice say, "That went well." And you turn and see a Marigold not more than 2 foot away from you, standing, looking down at you seated. We're going to go to credits. We'll be right back.
Woman with yellow eyes, completely fine.
All right. So I got what I always want, which is the when I end the session. So I got that. That's what I live for.
Well deserved.
So I got to start with you, Nate, man. Like this is the second time you have unleashed this thing.
It scares me. Like this artifact scares me, but like every time I pull it out, it always feels right. Like this felt like a moment, like, you know, it's the oh shit button.
Yeah.
If I need it, it's there for me.
And then this is the most magic you've ever magicked. I mean, you cast a level 8 spell.
I've never
Power
dumped
level.
8 willpower into a spell twice in a row.
I gotta say, and again, this is me saying good things about Forbidden Lands. It's not me saying bad things about other stuff, right? But I do love magic in this system. I love that it's powerful and dangerous. And Like, I love the fact that the sorcerer casts their spell and it happens, but they have a limited resource of willpower to work with. And, the more powerful they do, the bigger chance they have. And mechanically behind the scenes, that mishap is 2d6. On a 6/6, he's dead. Boop. That's it.
He's coming back as a villain, is that
In
right?
fact,
Sure.
he's drawn into the demon land, and
Oh,
there's a note
no.
in the mishap that says, and may come back as an NPC villain later.
Yes, it may come back
Oh.
changed.
Yeah. So so it's like, so it's no
Aldrich on
joke,
fire.
right? The mishaps is no joke, and this time you haven't. I don't know what the role was. I
Oh, he
can
would
tell
have
you
been the Burning Man.
Yeah.
what it
yeah.
was on the. Hold on. Oh, it doesn't tell
That
me.
never happens. I'm sorry, guys.
So
And,
that
and he probably
hungry
would have
roll,
taken the artifact with him, so it would have been just all around bad.
and this is your second mishap, right? Because
Yeah,
I
he
think
mishapped against the
Yeah.
other
the
demons.
other one was
Second or
thirsty,
third.
right?
I think it's his third. I think you
Yeah.
got hungry back in the tower.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back in the
Weatherstone.
that's
Wellstone.
right.
I'm hitting the hungry.
Yeah,
Which I
you're
think
hungry, thirsty,
fits-
hungry.
That fits Aldrich really well.
But
Boy thinks with his stomach.
and I also love it that we have our two combat characters, right? And they're chipping away at it, and you guys were doing some damage to this thing. But it's just like, you talk about that oh shit button. It's just like, let loose the Aldrich.
Yep.
I didn't want to take chances with my.
It was really cool. It was really, really cool. Jim, your thoughts?
This is great. I was expecting the combat to turn into an Osric fest, and I think my rolls were not going to let that happen today. So I think it's great that Aldrich got to step up and
I got that for you, buddy.
and be the demon slayer this time, right? Vasily gets to write a new song about a different demon slayer.
Brian?
Yeah, no, this was great. I mean, as always, playing with this table is great.
Isn't it?
But yeah, I mean, it's really good because I mean, at this point, obviously not having seen what's her name yet, Sten is genuinely scared of Aldrich now. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens there next week, because that's like a whole other level of shit that just happened.
Yeah. Sucking a forest fire into your body.
And I'm a little peckish now.
Dave, what's it like in these combats, right? So you have an assist, right, with this war cry. Obviously, in social situations, the spotlight gets on you and you can do some really cool things and stuff. But what's it like playing a non-combat character in this type of a situation?
It is nice to have a useful thing, even if it's like, I don't know, support, role, which happens in a lot of games. Like it's enjoyable to do that. Like, so I feel like it's nice to have a fungible resource that gets used. And like, so there's a decision making, like, how much, like what I'm going to do is pretty obvious, but like how much is cool. And when you were talking about magic earlier, I was thinking about that with Aldrich. He's not tied to the spells, like they are powerful and dangerous, but he could punch a thing if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And so could I, right? I could be like a more combat bard if the soul was that way. So I really like it. It's fun, and I don't mind the running away scared and then like having this like moments of like bravery, like calling back ancient history or tales. It's cool.
What's this mean? Marigold there, relaxed, leaning up against the tree, saying that went well.
I don't know. I think from my perspective, I think that she is testing us. I think that she is like looking for heroes.
Jim?
Although, who knows?
I think she's looking for these artifacts, and I think that like when you use that thing, you basically get a pulse of I used that thing, and there are forces in the Ravenlands that are looking for these things, and it just so happens that she's one of them, and she was close enough to sort of feel it, and I think I honestly think that she may still actually be Dalb the stag. And I'm just making that in my head canon.
Or like his sister or
Until
something.
proven otherwise.
That's right. Until I find proof that that's not the case. They are just this otherworldly entity that is, they're dipping into our lives, and it just happens to be right. They're like, oh well, but I don't want to be obvious that I'm this person following you. So because I'm a shapeshifter, I don't have to do that, and I can be whoever I want to be. But they don't have the ability to hide certain traits and aspects, and that's why it's like, oh well, they have those golden eyes. So we start to think, well, man, that's a little weird. But that's my working theory, is that it's this otherworldly entity that's taken an interest in these things, and that we're next to them, and we have that faded feel.
What does Brian, the experienced role player, think about this whole
Well-
golden-eyed marigold doll stag thing?
I don't know what I mean. I'm inclined to believe that they are, all the same person, but I don't know enough about the world to do that. What I know now is that we've been able to go along pretty well so far, mostly below the radar. We've made some friends, we've made some enemies, we've done some stuff. We have clearly just jumped up a level in terms of the stuff we're going to have to deal with and people that know about us. And I think our lives are only going to get more complicated.
All
We
right,
get
so
two magic items and everything goes to shit.
all right, so Nate, your plugs, my friend.
My plugs, Steam Powered Scoundrels. That's really it.
All right, Dave, any shout outs?
Oh man, thanks for running a good table.
That's fun. Jim, any shout outs?
I'll give a shout out to the 3 Minute in a War Game podcast. They're a bunch of great guys.
Yep, great guys, great podcast. Brian, plug.
I'll keep pushing the Ascent of Board Games, which is our monthly board game podcast. And if you haven't gone and take a look at that Call of Cthulhu, I mean, I was the keeper, so I may be a little biased, but I think it's a pretty good starting session.
It was really good, and Brian out-Craig'd Craig with the ending.
Spicy.
Oh, and you gotta hear Craig's accent. It's beautiful the whole way through. It's awesome.
Excellent. I gotta watch that.
All right, guys, and everybody in chat with all the buying some subs for people and stuff is so cool, and the cheers were great. Nick, it's always good to see you making it here. And we're gonna schedule hopefully in a week or 2 weeks. I think we're gonna be playing this again, so we're gonna get into episode 11. There's a lot going on, so you might want to make sure you don't miss it.